Woo, happy Friday. Yes, we are live back with a new show
Yes.
in the Marvel Universe
Yes.
based on the WandaVision show.
WandaVision recap show.
How you doing? How's your week?
My week was pretty good. It went by kind of fast. Yeah, but I made it. I survived. It's Friday. Tomorrow is Saturday. It's a holiday weekend for those who get those.
Yeah, those weekend. A holiday weekend.
Isn't Martin Luther King Day on Monday?
It is. Yeah. Well, shout out to everybody who's got Monday off though. Like you were saying. You got Monday off, or you taking Monday off?
No, I got Monday off.
That's awesome. That's what's up.
So I was thinking today, like at A&T, we didn't have class, but it was like a day of service.
Yeah.
And I fell off on that after graduation. Although I think this is only like my second year of having that day off, because when I was after college, I had a job where I had to work on Monday. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I need to find a way to give back or something in the spirit of all A&T.
Facts. Man, got in the chat. Parco, what's good? My brother. What's going on? Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show.
Actually, I sent out the link like I normally do, and everybody was like, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So they'll coming back to watch it later.
Yeah, so we'll this is I wasn't expecting to get 2 episodes right off the bat. That was a pleasant surprise. I think it was necessary because given the nature of the show, which we'll talk about a little bit, it is there's a lot of mystery within the show, and I don't think I would imagine that unless you're someone who's steeped into the Marvel lore, a lot of what happens in these first 2 episodes will probably go over your head.
Absolutely. Not just go over your head, but I think people who aren't aware of who Wanda and Vision are would have a problem. Like if someone who's never seen a Marvel film or read a comic book before watches this, they're going to be like, why is she a witch? And why does he look like that? Why are things floating? Why can they do all of these things? So I think this might be the first project from Marvel where I don't know if it's something that people can enjoy on their own, on its own.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. Well, and we'll see how the series unfolds. But like, if you haven't seen any of the other Marvel like content, as far as like, especially the movies, like I don't know how much you're going to be able to follow along with what's going on. Maybe if you haven't seen the movies, but you've read all the comic books and are familiar with the characters of Wanda and Vision, and you're pretty well on with the comics, I think you can follow along with the show pretty well. And if you are hardcore Marvel fan who reads the comics and watches the movies and has seen the animated series and things of that nature, like I think that this is you wouldn't have any problems with this show. And I think that those people are really digging this, and I think a lot of other people are kind of on the fence about it. From what I've seen on the internet, I've seen that the hardcore fans are very much digging this show, and then the ones who aren't necessarily hardcore, they're kind of like, all right, I don't know how I feel about this, but because you guys are so invested in it and like it so much, like maybe I'll keep watching.
That's my mom. She's seen every single Marvel film, but is she as deep into it as I am? I don't know. The answer would be no. So I'm excited to, watch it with her later tonight. I watched it by myself earlier, but I want to watch it with her and see her reaction to it, see the twins' reaction to it, and see how they feel. I think my dad is more like us. He knows what's going on. He's seen all the films. So I'm also excited to see what he feels about it. But I will say I was a bit confused, and I had to pull out Google a couple of times. I had to stop.
Oh yeah.
I had to rewind.
Sure.
I rewatched episode 1 because I was underwhelmed at first, and I was like, after I watched episode 2, I felt a lot better, but I said, no, there's got to be more in episode 1 that would make me feel better. So then I went back, and I do feel better. But I will say, like you said, it was smart to do the double release, not just to get people hyped, but I think we needed to see episode 2.
Yeah, episode 1. Yeah, episode 2 is a necessary aspect of it, especially like if you're, because episode 1 doesn't give you a lot. Like the key of episode 1 happens at the very end. Like that's kind of sort of the hard slap in the face. Like, yo, this is not what it seems like. I think one thing that you should keep in mind as you're watching this show is that yes, Wanda is in some sort of deep state dream, alternate reality, false reality, that she may or may not be aware that she's trapped in. One thing I don't know is where in the timeline this takes place. I've seen people speculate that this show actually takes place like during the snap, like when she's snapped away in Infinity War. They were saying that this takes place during that, while she's actually during that 5-year gap when she's been snapped away, like she's having this thing, and then some are saying that it's post. Like that's another element of confusion.
Idea that it happened during the snap, because that means if she was capable of doing this while essentially being gone, that would have to mean that everybody else was conscious somewhere also at the same time. So if that's possible, then I need to know what everybody else was up to at that time.
So the reason why they say that is because their logic was that because the show starts out in black and white, and when everyone basically in the snap turned to ash and like they're basically black and white, that's why the show is in that Dick Van Dyke TV show style format. Like that was a theory. Like it was just some speculation, like where someone had on the internet was kind of sort of running off with an idea, really. And I could see the logic. I don't think it has too much merit. But I thought it was like a cool possibility, you know what I'm saying? Like with it starting out in black and white, and then the snap turns everyone to ash. Like I could see the logic in it. I don't think that's what they were doing, but yeah.
I'm thinking that it's after Spider-Man Far From Home, because as we know, what's happening to Wanda now is going to affect time in general, and it's going to mess things up. And in Far From Home, there was only this reality. There was only the reality of the snap happened, they were missing for 5 years, and they came back. Now you have people who were 15 when the snap happened, who are now 20, and then you have their classmates coming back who are 15 again, and they're all trying to go through school and learn and do things together. So because of that, I'm thinking this is either happening simultaneously, where like maybe the films are happening at the same time, or it happens right after.
Yeah. I think so too. I think that it is. I think you're right with that. That speculation, that theory. I think that makes the most sense from the MCU standpoint for it to have it to be taking place after Far From Home. Yeah, so let's get into some of the you want to get into some of the Easter eggs, some of the spoilers, some of the things from at least let's start with episode 1, because episode 1, there are a few things that I'm assuming went over some people's heads that we need to talk about. And while you look some stuff up, what's up, Ma? You're lost? Yeah, I think a lot of people are.
Lost definitely the game right now. I just realized I don't have my mic.
Yeah, the captain's log is also lost. Welcome to the show, to the stream, by the way. I don't think I've seen your name pop up before.
Welcome to the show, Captain's Log.
Thank you for joining us. Mental breakdown. Parko says it's still Wanda's having a mental breakdown, and because that's what happens in the comics, that's also what I've been told. I've also been told that this is a Mephisto is the one who is basically induced this mental breakdown in this mental state that she's in.
Since you mentioned him, you got to break down who that is to me because I have no idea.
Okay, so Mephisto is essentially the Marvel version of Satan.
Okay.
Like not even essentially, he is basically Satan. Like he's the one who deceived Adam and Eve. Like I mean, this is like, you know, in the lore of Marvel, like he is actually Satan. So that's he has all the same powers and abilities. He has he, like Wanda, has control over reality. He can put people into these false realities, mental states, with or without their consent. One of his superpowers is listed as lying, like because he's a master manipulator, as is, you know, Satan. So I think that's the best analogy I can make for everyone. Like his character pulls heavily from you know, the biblical uh version of Satan. And uh yeah, so without getting too deep into it, that's what he is. Because I can't confirm that he's going to pop in, but the one of the elements is because this would make him a cosmic threat. That would be the reason why a Doctor Strange would be involved with helping Wanda, which is what I've heard is this show is basically going to be about. The rumors are that no, actually, this is not a rumor. It's been confirmed that WandaVision, this TV show, ties directly into the Multiverse of Madness, which is the Doctor Strange sequel. And there are deep connections between these two properties. So I'm thinking that this Mephisto has to be one of the bigger cosmic threats. We've also got some stuff from Hydra, some Easter eggs from Hydra that pop in during the show. The Watch, that's in episode 2, isn't it? Yeah, that's in episode 2. So I'll stick with episode 1. The one of the big spoilers, and well, not spoilers, but Easter eggs in the first episode is the commercial for the toaster, because that is a Stark Enterprise product. Tony Stark's father created the toaster, and it also has the Iron Man repulsor sound on the bell on the timer when it finally finished ticking, which I thought was kind of cool. There are also some other subtle things like the flying saucer thing that you brought up
yes.
at the beginning. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so one of the very first scenes in the show, Wanda says to Vision, "Oh, my husband and his indestructible head," which we know is a reference to Infinity War, where in fact his head was quite destructible as Thanos pulled the Mind Stone directly from his head. That was the Mind Stone, right?
Yes, it was the Mind
Stone.
So
many stones. Pulled that thing right out. And then Vision responds to Wanda and says, "Oh, my wife and her flying saucers," because she was putting plates back up. I think the flying saucer was a reference to the big wheel thingies that Thanos had brought to Wakanda in Infinity War. In order to kill his monsters, she essentially lifted them and just threw them. And they look like really, really huge flying discs. And I thought that was just a cool Easter egg reference back to the last movie where they were together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then what I don't quite understand, and I think it will be revealed as we watch the show, because this is a lot. Mystery is a huge aspect of the plot of the show, like from the time period, the Dick Van Dyke Show callbacks, and the other like popular TV shows that the show itself is going to be modeled after, that it's going to harken back to as we go through the season, because it's going to pass through like multiple decades, like the 50s, 60s, 70s, and in various sitcoms of that era of each decade that were mainstream and very popular. We're going to see some similarities between them, but it's all intentional. It's for a reason. Um, and we see. I I kind of want to jump to the end, like because when we see when the show ends and we it pans out to the observation room, which seems to be like in a modern time, like in 2021 or 2020, or what? No, it's what 2023 is when I believe
2023 is when the snap, when everybody comes back.
when everyone comes back. So yeah,
Yeah.
so we jump to 2023 at the end, and we see someone in an observation room monitoring Wanda somehow, some way. We don't know where Wanda is, but we obviously know that she's in peril. We hear a voice saying, "Who's doing this to you?" Asking her repeatedly, "Who's doing this to you?" At the end of both episodes, and then you see the sword um, logo pop up.
Yeah, this is just Easter egg after Easter egg. I think I think they want you to Google. I'm starting to think that this isn't something where they're just making it for the true fans. I think they want everybody to go to Google or go through look through their comics and see things. Like even they kept mentioning August 23rd. What's supposed to happen on August 23rd?
Yeah,
And we've seen people try to say oh, that's supposed to help you with the time and the date, like to figure out what year it is. When I Googled, it referenced a few different things, but the thing that stuck out the most to me was Avengers 23/8, so 238, the comic book. It references an incapacitated Vision.
yeah.
But yeah, and so there's not really like one particular thing that this reference. It was more like a whole bunch of other things. So I feel like they want us to be confused, just like you said, Mrs. Cooper. Like I don't think they want us to know exactly what's going on. When Coop at the end you mentioned this room and someone's asking her who's doing this to you. It was always my impression that this was something that she was doing to herself. But based on things that I saw in the second episode, I think there are multiple forces at work here. I think she might be doing something to herself, but I also think there are multiple groups trying to contact her while she's in whatever state that she's in. So whether, it is, what did you say his name was?
Mephisto.
Mephisto might be pulling the strings, but I think there are multiple forces like S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra who are trying to contact her and bring her out of it. I don't think it's just her. And I think people are also putting things in her head. Is it all right if I jump to episode 2?
That would be so yeah, and the people, whoever's putting stuff in her head, that's where Mephisto comes into play. Like because that's what very well within his wheelhouse. That's what he does. He manipulates. He's kind of like Freddy Krueger in that fashion. Like, and yes, and I think that there are forces like Sword who is trying to help her, and then I think Hydra is also at play trying to do Hydra type things, and they're trying to manipulate as well behind the scenes for their own benefit. And before we move on, Sword, for those who don't know, is the Sentient World Observation and Response Department. It is a sister of Shield. If you remember Shield from the original, from the first Avengers movie, they are Sword and Shield work hand in hand in Marvel in the comic books. Shield is defunct in the MCU right now, but Sword is they handle the alien threats, which is why yes, I believe Parco, you're right here. They are setting up Secret Invasion, which is the Skrulls, which is also kind of sort of hinted at in the end credits of Far From Home. Yes, and no, I have not seen Far From Home yet. Still,
I'm playing games.
I didn't know what the end credit scene is. That was spoiled, but I knew that was the thing. So I think Secret Invasion makes the most sense. They introduced the Skrulls in Captain Marvel, and if you don't, for a refresher, they're the green aliens that at the beginning of the movie they thought were the enemies, and it turns out that they were basically refugees, and Secret Invasion is a basically there's a group of scrolls that invade Earth and have been living amongst humans since for a long time. And
that's one of the shows they're gonna have on Disney Plus, right?
Right. I think this is it's setting this up, and basically the scrolls infiltrate all levels of government and around the world, and they are mimicking and impersonating world leaders because they're shapeshifters, so they can take the shape and form of any world leader, and they have basically taken control of all world governments. And the Sword in Nick Fury and the Avengers help to bring this to light in the comics. I don't know the full details. I have not read the runs, but that's basically the gist of it. Bring back AIM from Iron Man 3 with the Beekeeper. The Beekeeper. Okay, so the Beekeeper. See, I knew that
end of episode 2.
Yeah, I knew that I didn't know who that character was. Parco, if you could let us know in the comment section, give us a little bit more on the Beekeeper character.
On episode 2, I have a theory that children are being forced on Wanda. In the very first episode, there's no children everywhere. Well, there's no children in either episode. There's a lot of mention of children, but there are not any children. The first time I believe children are mentioned in episode 1, when the boss's wife comes over, she says, "Where did you meet? How long have you been married? Why don't you have any children?" And that wasn't even a question that Wanda addressed, but, it did startle Wanda and oh my goodness, what do? I don't have the answers to these questions. And the boss, started to choke, and then they just left. And Wanda completely took them out of that reality, put them in a different show because she was flustered. Then in episode 2, you have the fundraiser, which is supposed to be for the children. You have just all of these talks of children, the neighborhood watch, not actually doing anything to keep these children safe. These women planning this fundraiser, doing a lot of talking about children, but none of the women are pregnant, and there's not one child anywhere. Even in the scene where Wanda and her friend are walking to the fundraising location, there's no kids. This is a neighborhood, a suburban area, not one child. But all this talk over and over again of children to Wanda, and by the end of the episode, she's manifested a pregnancy. I don't think that was by accident. I don't even think that's, in a way, something Wanda wanted. Not to say that she would not have wanted children at some point, but I have to go back and watch the beginning of Infinity War. But I don't think it was a conversation ever. I don't remember them talking about children. So why all of a sudden does she want them? I think someone else is putting that in her mind. So,
yes, I think that's so. Mephisto in the comic books, I believe.
Does he make his children?
Yes, through Wanda and Vision. Like somehow he uses magic to create twins, Tommy and Billy, through Wanda and Vision. And I think that this is what I think is, because is she pregnant? Did she in episode 2? Is she pregnant?
She's pregnant at the end. And very
out of nowhere, right?
Her stomach grows from the point where she first has a belly to at the very end when they're in color. Her stomach is larger. It grew that fast between those two scenes of her first popping up as pregnant and into the episode ending. So she's pregnant, and this pregnancy is moving pretty quickly on screen. I wouldn't be surprised if by the next episode, by the end, they actually have the children.
Yes, I think so. I think what happens is in the comics, I think that Mephisto tricks them into having children, I think in some alternate reality, and then he absorbs their souls, and then that basically reincarnates them or something strange in that. And I
so like the fact that kids and then kill the kids.
Basically, I'm telling you, this show is gonna be crazy.
Madness.
It's gonna be crazy.
Just the children talk threw me off because Wanda was not thinking about children. It was just she just wanted a life with Vision. She'd never, first, she never really had a childhood. And she spent, you know, a lot of her young adult years basically in bars, you know, being held by Hydra. And
Yeah.
now she's out. She wants to be free. Her brother is gone. She met the man of her life, and now he's gone. She's not thinking about kids right now. So I was like, why is she pregnant? Somebody is doing something.
Like everything that you think has no relevance is actually relevant to the story. Like it's like the fact that they're putting the child conversation in the midst of a dinner conversation in a 60s TV show sitcom, like it naturally would happen. Like that's Mephisto behind the scene. That's him manipulating all of this and making it feel real to her. Because one, she's a very powerful witch, like and magician. Like she's not easily deceived, and so he has to be careful with how he convince and deceives her, and he's going about it in a very subtle way. Like I'm convinced that the main villain in this is going to be Mephisto, because one, I mean, the fact that she's all of a sudden pregnant in this, and you know, I think wasn't it at the beginning of episode 2 they slept together.
The beds came together. That was another thing that I thought we were going to point out.
And then at the end of the episode, she's pregnant.
Dang, you're right.
It's all connected. Like you have to look at it like all of this stuff is like it's subtle, but it's relevant to what's going on.
I did appreciate that they pointed that out because I always thought that was weird. I understand it. You know, America was mad prude for being as violent as we are. They didn't think it was cool to show husbands and wives in the same beds together. So I did think that it was dope that they addressed that on screen because it never made sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I think the Black woman, Geraldine, she's essentially Monica Rambeau. Isn't that the
she's not essentially, she is Monica Rambeau. And that's another thing. Like, how is Monica Rambeau in this story? In her dream, in this reality?
Just so that I'm clear, because I thought I was mixing up characters. Monica Rambeau is not the other pilot from Captain Marvel.
It's her daughter. Yeah, it's the daughter. It's the daughter.
Because I was having a moment like, Rambeau, isn't that the captain? But no, that's the daughter. So if that's the case, maybe this is happening it doesn't have to be happening either further in the future, but
it has to be in 2023 because we see her in the 90s. Like the Captain Marvel movie takes place in the 90s. So the little girl,
you're right. So she's in her 30s.
She's our age, yeah. Like she's in her.
She's older than us.
In her 20s to 30s, like she's like she's in her 30s, like late 20s, early 30s, like somewhere in that age group. So like, she's a millennial basically.
I love that they recast it, and usually, you know, people go from a dark-skinned child to a lighter-skinned adult, and they were like, "Now we can flip this backwards."
Yeah, she's not the same complexion as her mom.
Yeah, they brought her all the way, which I thought it's always the other way around.
Yeah, she's is she affiliated with SWORD? The question is, because like, all right, so here's a theory for me. I'm thinking that she somehow maybe she was a SWORD agent that Nick Fury sent into, like maybe they have access to this dimension that Wanda is trapped in, and they're trying to help her escape, and then somehow she got lost and absorbed into this like vision.
I'm not sure about the second part, but I do definitely think that there are multiple people who know what's happening to Wanda and they're trying to contact her. First, at the very end of the first episode, like you said, we could actually see someone watching what she's going through on screen. So not only can they see this, they are able to communicate with her in some way. So definitely they are, for lack of a better term, zapping someone else's consciousness in there with her. And
that's even like we know that is SWORD, like whoever that was, because they had the SWORD icon was, I think it was on like a notebook on the desk, like it was closed, but you could see the emblem of SWORD on it. So that subtly confirmed that that's who was monitoring her behind the scenes. Now we do get not Stryker, what's his name? the watch commercial.
Strucker.
Strucker watch.
Mhm. The watch has the Hydra logo on it, and it actually says Hydra.
Yes,
And that's lit.
that is. But Strucker is it's. There's a character. His name is Baron von Strucker, which is he was actually you see him in Age of Ultron. Like he's the dude with the glasses that was he was experimenting on Wanda and her brother.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning, I think they killed him or he died. I think he died. I don't know. I don't think they captured him, but that's the Easter egg for that. Like the fact that Strucker is mentioned in the commercial and Hydra at the same time, who we know he's also affiliated with, would that's what lets us know that not only Sword being involved, but there's also Hydra is at play, and then the Tony Stark commercial. Well, not Tony Stark, but the Howard Stark commercial with the toaster. We know that the Stark is somehow involved in this, whether that's it might be Gwen or not Gwen, Pepper.
I will say
Sword possibly.
I don't think that was Howard Stark in that commercial. I
was
believe
not.
it was the same man and woman in both commercials, from the toaster in the 60s to the was that the 70s?
Nah, I went to 70s.
Like
we didn't get Technicolor in this episode, did we? In
at the very end, we did.
Yeah, it jumps. It jumps. That's another time jump.
Yeah. So, but in both, I did think that they were two separate times. Maybe the first one was the 50s, then it was the 60s. Both commercials had the same man and the woman. And at first, I didn't think anything of it because, this show has so much going on. But now I think that's for a reason. Unfortunately, I don't remember the woman well, but the man, I don't know. We need to watch him. We're going to see him in the next episode. Something is up with the man in that commercial.
Yeah, I think. Oh gosh, yeah, I don't know. It might not. Maybe it's. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's necessarily. They may not be important. The actual the physical man and woman like that. I think that they're just placeholders. But I think that's just those commercials are. I don't know, man. It could be. You
everything
might be right.
Is everything.
That's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm like. But that's part of why I like this show because I'm like I don't get it yet, but I know that they are messing with me on purpose.
All right, so here's another example of someone who I think we're going to see more of. In the second episode, we know Vision goes to work in the first episode, right? So in the first episode, Vision goes to work and he's, gets through whatever, and he meets the boss, and the boss says, I'm excited about tonight. So-and-so's wife couldn't really entertain me. And you see the man walking out with his box, right? Yep. In the second episode, so you know what? I take back what I said previously. Both of those episodes took place at the exact same time because, they were like just the next day or something.
Yeah, it's part one and part two.
In the second episode, the woman who was the head of the fundraising committee, the blonde who was real stink, the guy who got fired in the previous episode was her husband.
Yeah.
So she had said, the woman said to Wanda, I know all about you and your husband and the things you've done. And Wanda, was like, what is she talking about? What does she know? And now I'm realizing, okay, it's because the husband got fired and Vision essentially took his place and got his promotion that he should have gotten. So she was feeling salty about that. But I think it's more than that. I do think she might be an agent from another area or something creeping in on Wanda and what she's doing.
Yeah. Like she might very well be Hydra. Like, so I think it was interesting that when Vision goes to the neighborhood watch meeting, that it was just the men in there gossiping.
Mm-hmm.
When he says that one dude is a communist, like I don't think that was I think that was intentional. Like might be.
Was that the husband?
That wasn't the husband though. Not the dude that he called a communist. That wasn't, but he was there. The husband was definitely present. But that could, I don't know.
I want to
Because
watch
it could be too.
again. There's
Now,
so
if you
much,
think about it, but all right, hold on. If you think about it, right? So, like when he gets fired, is that like an analogy to Hydra being defeated at World War II initially? That first defeat?
possibly. I wouldn't rule it out. I definitely wouldn't rule it out. And I would say I want to watch it again because are we 100% sure they weren't talking about the husband?
He looks at the guy next to him and says that he's a communist, even though the husband is there, and they pan to him next, and then he starts laughing, and then the dude starts laughing that Vision calls a communist, and then everybody at the table starts laughing.
Hydra has way more than one person in there. So it could very well be that they were both communists, and that's why he said that.
Possibly.
This is a lot.
It is. Oh
also,
man.
At some point we have to talk about what's Agatha Harkness.
The neighbor, right?
Huh?
The neighbor,
the nosy neighbor.
Right. She is
they're referring to her right now as the nosy neighbor, but
she's sus.
She is super sus. I think she's a witch.
Yes, she has to be. The little hand signals. She does the same hand gestures as Wanda and Doctor Strange. That's not intent. Like
Doctor Strange does that too.
He does the thing. Yeah, I'm trying to, because like when she waves by, she does like that or something. Like it was weird. She did like she did the hands, man. It's the hands. That's all intentional, man.
And Agatha Harkness in the comics is a witch who's a lot older, but she does wear her hair the same way that the nosy neighbor wore her hair in the first episode. Agatha in the comics is a lot older. She has white hair, but she has a middle part, and it's like flipped and curly, just like the actress in the first part. But she is also a witch, which is why she's doing those things. And she was kind of like not so much a friend, but like a supporter for the Scarlet Witch. So I think that's why she's nosy, and she's also there because at some point they become friends or something like that. I don't think friends is the right word, but I don't think they're
presenting herself as a friend. She's approaching Wanda as a friend, but she's not. She's not her friend. Oh, okay. So I'm on the Marvel database, and Agatha Harkness is actually, she was born in Salem, Massachusetts.
Shout out to our planning chat.
Yo, it's like, what?
But so, I mean, born in Salem, definitely a witch.
100% a witch. And she also has connections to Mephisto. And also, she's also got connections to the X-Men, which we also know that in the comics, Wanda is a mutant in the comics.
Actually, I want to say what's going on right now, Wanda is able to create, in the comics, is able to create multiple universes where she's actually able to get rid of all mutants, similar to what Cerebro did in X2. And then other universes where all of the humans are gone and it's just mutants. Also, I'm really hyped to see the crossover between X-Men and the Avengers on screen. Like, we know that Disney is now able to work with these characters, but we haven't seen it yet. So I'm really hyped for that.
Yeah, I think everybody is, yo. Like, we've been waiting for X-Men and the Avengers all to be on the screen at the same time in some capacity. And we're definitely going to get it. Going to get that soon. I think the Multiverse of Madness, I think this show and Multiverse of Madness are going to set up not only the return of the Fantastic Four and the introduction of them into the MCU, but also the X-Men. Because as we just talked about the multiverse stuff, like perhaps in this current universe that the MCU is in, there are no mutants to speak of, but in another universe, like in a multiverse of madness, like what if all of these things just blend together? Like what if the multiverse just melts into one and then now all of a sudden all of these realities are one thing, one entity, or something crazy. Like it had like multiverse of madness. Exactly, but that's why it's madness, right? Like it has to be like something crazy, like substantially insane happening in there. And like, and then you got the Spider-Man 3 rumors with all of the characters appearing from multiple universes, multiple Spider-Man timelines. Like you got the Tobey Maguire villains popping up from the original Spider-Man live action, the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man characters all popping up. Like it's they're setting up a lot of stuff with these shows, and like if this is the introduction of like the initial explanation, like I can just sense that like all of this is like coming to a head in this show. Like I think that this show ends and it's going to be like a mind bend.
One, I am so excited for Spider-Man. I said this earlier in the Discord, but it was announced today that Charlie Cox was seen on set, and Charlie Cox plays Daredevil in the Netflix Daredevil series. And we now know that Disney got the rights to those characters in those shows. So for all we know, they could be brought back again or have their own shows. But Spider-Man 3 is going to be so epic. I'm going to cry. I'm telling y'all right now, I will cry. Expect me. Maybe I might not be on camera here with tears, but it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah. No, it is going to be monumental what they do with Spider-Man 3. I mean, I think what they're doing possibly with this show and then with Doctor Strange and then of course Spider-Man 3, like that's going to be something special. Like it's like it could potentially be on the level of like Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. Like if it's like done correctly, like yeah, it's going to be a great return for Marvel in the MCU.
It's going to be epic. The captain's log, we did say it, but I didn't address it to you. I think there are a lot of bad characters planting in the neighborhood. I can't give you a number, but I think it's more than what Freeman and I have thought of so far on this show. And in fact, I'm excited to see Wanda recognize that there are bad characters afoot. I do believe at the end of episode 2 that she recognized the beekeeper who came out of the sewer. He also had a symbol on his back that I have no reference for, but she either recognized the symbol or she recognized the person in the suit, but she knew that that individual was coming to get her or to give her a message or to do something. She recognized that and she took them out of the reality because she wasn't ready to come out yet. So if she knows that there are people who can try to remove her from the reality, I would think that soon she's also going to realize that there are people in the reality trying to do things. So I am excited to see her recognize that there are good people and bad people doing things, and hopefully she can weed them out before it gets crazy.
Maybe that was the logo or the emblem on the back was the AIM logo, to Parko's point earlier. Okay. Possibly, maybe it was the AIM emblem. I don't know if they have one, but I'm assuming they have one. Since the two are associated. Are advanced?
I'm looking at the AIM logo now. I don't think so. Let me type in the. Also, if you type in Beekeeper and Marvel, the whole world wants to know who this person is. It's not just
because it was so weird. Like it's such a mystery box show. Like it introduces mysteries. So, and if you aren't familiar with the mystery box storytelling style, which is what the show is very much adopting, basically within the story itself is a mystery, and with each mystery introduces it. One, you answer the question of one mystery while also introducing another. So like every answer leads to more questions, basically, until you get to the end where you resolve everything at once.
Okay, so the logo I think that's what they're doing. Very similar to the sword logo. Mm-hmm. But the AIM uniform itself looks like a big beekeeper uniform. You know, it's a big yellow uniform and that scene was also in black and white. But as we know, bees are black and yellow. So the AIM uniform is a big yellow suit with a black belt, and the helmet is similar to that of a beekeeper, as it has like a net here. So that could very well have been an AIM person.
Okay, well, I got a theory, but first I got to shout out Coop Daddy Yoda.
Coop Daddy Yoda
checking in and checking out. Oh man, I love it. So now, what if Hydra and Mephisto have convinced Wanda that AIM and Sword are evil and are out to get her? Like they're truthfully trying to rescue her from this nightmare that she's in, but they've convinced her that that somehow, in some way, that they are the evil and they're bad.
Honestly, the show is so crazy, anything is possible. So I'm not even going to shut it down. I'm just going to say, let's see what happens next week.
I know, right?
I don't want to attach myself to any one theory. The only theory I'm sure on is that Wanda is not having children because she wants to have children. She's having children because someone else is influencing that. Yes. That I'm sure of. But everything else, I'm leaving it to chance. Everything is a possibility right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Heem,
welcome to the show. Hope you already saw these 2 episodes. Let us know how you felt about them. If you are watching and you have a question or an opinion, please share it with us.
Yeah, and if you have any theories, or as a matter of fact, if you have any theories and you aren't a member of the Discord, what are you doing? Why aren't you a member of the Discord? We'd love to have you.
What you got going on?
So I'm going to drop a link to the Discord. Come join us there, where we have these conversations all the time. We'd love to hear your opinions. We've also got another show that we're doing tomorrow, where I'm pretty sure we'll be continuing some of this conversation that we're having today with the larger cast and crew of the Gumbo team. Imani, you had something to say?
Yeah, I just realized I went back to my AIM Google, and there's a lot of stuff revolving honeycombs with AIM. So yeah, there's definitely that individual was AIM representative. Absolutely.
I'm telling you, I told you all of it is intentional. Like every single thing that confused you was purposely there. It was intentional. They wanted to confuse you. This is Kevin Feige at work here, who's I trust that whatever they have planned and whatever they've got in store for us with this show has been well thought out and conceived, and at the end of it, everything's going to make sense. Like I said, they've adopted the mystery box storytelling. That much is clear from the first 2 episodes. So that being said, that means we're going to get hit with they're going to give us a bunch of mystery and then gradually give us the answers, and then at the end everything will just make sense.
Okay, so more for you. I think it might be the opposite of what you said about Wanda being told that AIM is bad. AIM is bad. AIM is a fictional, as defined by the wiki, it's a fictional criminal organization. And Baron Stucker, who is a villain, is a member of AIM. So she might already know that AIM is bad. Somehow.
Well, are they tied to? Are they in sword connected in some capacity? I still feel like Monica Rambeau she's got to be.
She's definitely on the good side.
Yeah, I know because she is. What is her?
Excuse me.
She's Spectrum is her alias. Because I think she's a Young Avenger. Yeah. What's that?
So what's her power?
That's a good question. Does she have superpowers, or is she more like a Black Widow? I think she does have superpowers, yo.
I don't think AIM is good. AIM has been exposed by Shield as being subversive. AIM was organized during World War II as the Scientific Research Division of the super military organization Hydra.
Oh yeah,
So
so they're big evil.
AIM is
Oh, that's Hydra. Yeah, so it is Hydra.
AIM is basically Hydra.
Yeah, they are Hydra.
You know what? The little dude with the glasses, the smart tech guy who essentially turned himself in the computer, and we got to see him in Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
He was probably like one of the leading people because AIM, by everything that I'm seeing, AIM is full of really, really smart and intelligent scientists who want to use technology to essentially take over the world. So
Okay,
they're on the smart side of things.
Monica Rambeau Spectrum, she does have superpowers. She has energy. She can absorb energy. She can also generate and manipulate. She has energy absorption, generation, and manipulation. She has the ability to travel at the speed of light while in her energy form. So yes, yeah, I think Captain's log said she has very similar powers to Captain Marvel, and that is, yeah, that's true.
I'm
She does.
wondering if she doesn't have her powers yet, and
Didn't
she's gonna
Captain
get
Marvel? No, I think doesn't Captain Marvel grant her some of her powers? Maybe. Is that how this happens?
possibly, but I don't think she has them in this show. I don't think she has her powers yet. Specifically because of her reaction after she came out of the box in episode 2. She was like,
Mhm.
one moment I was over there, the next moment I'm over here. Now I do believe she's been sent there to investigate to try to get her back, or for all we know, she was only sent there to investigate. She may not have been sent with the mission to bring her out. It might just be like chill here, see what's going on, and report back. But I don't know. That reaction seems like
No,
someone who
I think she's forgotten who she is because remember I remember in the preview for the show, like she had another moment later in a
yeah,
later
in
episode.
the 70s
She
when she
like yeah, like she's having a breakdown and all of a sudden she's back to like no, I think she's forgotten who she is. I think she believes that she is because this alias that she's using in this Wanda verse isn't who she really is. Like I think whatever something I feel like like I'm gonna stick with this. My running theory is that she was sent in by Sword. Something happened. She forgot who she was. Maybe Mephisto found her or AIM found her, and like now she's like a double agent for them.
I do definitely agree that she forgot what's going on because, like, I would think to be a spy, you should know your cover. And when Wanda asked her her name, she forgot. And she just came up with Geraldine on the spot. I don't
Yeah.
think that's what her name was on this mission. That's just what she came up with in that moment.
But
And
see now, if that's Mephisto like manipulating it behind the scenes, because like let's say she entered and Mephisto realized that like she's not supposed to be there, and then he just wipes her of her memory and her mind and gives her this fall and plays into it, leans into this false reality that she's created that he has created for Wanda. I could see that too. Because like I said, like there's outside of AIM being involved in Shield, there's got to be a deeper reason, a more cosmic level supernatural threat as well, because Doctor Strange is also involved in this, and he doesn't get involved unless there's some like uh, cosmic threat to Earth involved, which would very much be Mephisto. And if like I don't know, man. I'm excited. I think we're gonna get some crazy stuff in this show. I can feel it.
also, Geraldine is the middle name of Copycat. I don't know if that's like an accident. I mean, nothing is an accident with Marvel, but it could be a shout out to Deadpool somehow, some way. Maybe we will get to see Copycat at some point in that film. But I didn't think that name was chosen for no reason.
Also, too, the helicopter that's dropped in the bush.
Hmm.
that is it's the only object that appears in full color, and it's in the Iron Man color, and it's also got the sword logo uh on the side of it as well. Like, how did that get in there? What, like, it's such a because it's so intentional. Like, they did that on purpose. Like,
Someone is trying to jog her memory. At first, I was like, what if Ant-Man and them, they're doing something with Pym particles and they shrunk down a real
possibly, because
helicopter?
he does well, his movie is also going to be a key thing into this as well, because isn't that what the Fantastic Four are going to be introduced through the Ant-Man movie?
Yes, we're going to
And
get to
he's, yeah, and through, and yeah, like, oh god, I forgot about that.
the only reason why I shut that down, but I'm still keeping Ant-Man in the back of my mind just throughout watching this, is I felt like the helicopter was too big to be shrunk. Because for the most part, either things are regular sized, giant, or they're teeny tiny. And like if a car could fit on a keychain or the building could be the size of a book bag, then that toy might just be toy sized.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Pym particles make sense too within this, especially if they're trying to infiltrate without. I don't know, man. And I'm also thinking about in the commercial. You remember there was like this big force field around the neighborhood, and like there were military vehicles outside. Like, it's like they had the area quarantined. Like, maybe she's in quarantine. Like, they know that she's
In there doing stuff.
yeah, and they've quarantined off the area.
So he mentioned, after you spoke about it being red, there were a bunch of different things that were red on the show. The first thing that we see in color is the light on the toaster. And that actually, that it made the sound that Iron Man's little light things in his hands.
Yeah, his repulsor. Yeah.
So that was red. The blood on Dottie's hand was red.
The toaster is probably red too, because it would be honest, we saw it in black and white, but it's probably in full color, probably that red and gold.
You know what? I won't say no to that. You're right. I was going to think silver, but it could definitely be gold too. What else was red? We had the helicopter, we had the blood, we had the lights.
Is
that it? Vision did turn red for a second. Before she turned everything Technicolor, she saw his real color, and that's what made her do that. I think I'm missing something else. The captain's log says, I bet Wanda subconsciously hurt Dottie for reaching too far into her mind.
Yeah, I'm telling you, she's probably Hydra, yo. She's got to be working for AIM or Hydra. Like, she's got to be.
She did blow off the fact that her hand was bleeding pretty badly, a little too easily in my mind. And so I think that was like not so much Wanda pretending that it didn't happen, but her pretending that it didn't happen instead. It was definitely
she was definitely aware of what just transpired. I think she was in on it as much as Wanda was, but I think she, unlike Wanda, she's acting, because I think Wanda is legit confused as to what's going on. But I think that Dottie is on AIM / Hydra / Mephisto's side and trying to get her to do something.
So Dottie, her husband, and the other communists, they're definitely Hydra.
There's a reason why they called them communists. They did that on purpose.
Geraldine, who is probably who is Sword, but is kind of getting trapped right now. And then we have Agnes, the neighbor, who goes by Nosy Neighbor right now, who is stirring up the pot.
Bro, she's definitely a witch.
She's not doing anything bad right now, but she is definitely stirring up the pot, and she's trying to get to Vision. Also, when everything came back to color, did we confirm that Vision had his stone?
Agnes, yes, at the end he does have the stone. See, like when it's black and white, it looks like it's not there. It looks absent, but it's there. Like, because when they do the full color conversion at the end of episode 2, you see the stone and it's in full color. Trinity, Second Street, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining.
I'm wondering if that's why Agnes is trying to be all over Vision, because yes, she's trying to get to Wanda, but I think she's talking more about Vision. Also, she references her husband several times. What does she call him?
Oh yeah, she had a pet name for him.
She keeps mentioning, no, she calls him by his name. She keeps mentioning her husband, but we don't get to see him.
Yeah. No, he was, but is that his name though? What was it? Ralph. Yeah, thanks, Trinity.
Ralph. Who is Ralph? I don't think Ralph is made up.
All right. So here, look, Trinity just came in dropping bombs on us. So Sword has been infiltrated by AIM, Shield, and Hydra. It's all the same now. So all of it's Hydra. So like all of it's evil, basically. That is wild. Okay, so then who is asking her? Who's doing this to you? Like, who's the person on the voice on the radio that we hear asking her, like, what's going on? Like, who's doing this to you? Wanda, can you hear us? Like, who is that? Because I was assuming that was someone in Sword, because I thought that Sword were the good guys.
It sounded like Anthony Mackie to me, the guy who plays Falcon, but I'm not too sure.
In the second, well, it might have been in the first episode, but in the second episode, it sounded, I think the voice kind of sounded different. Because I thought it might have been like Don Cheadle in the second episode.
There's just so much here. I'm overwhelmed in a good way.
Yeah, I was like, yo, this is sick. I needed this type of thing.
All right, if I'm looking for something, but if I'm not mistaken, Ralph is a bad guy too, and he's a member of AIM.
Captain Slog says, cut off one head. Yep, that's very much true. Cut off one head and two will replace it. Two more will replace it. That is the Hydra motto. That's very, very much what we've been seeing. I'm so glad that we're going to get more Hydra too, because I liked Hydra. I like Hydra. Oh gosh.
What are they saying?
I'm waiting for it to pop up. The Trinity said, my theory for a while has been that they're in a version of Pleasant Hill.
What's that?
Isn't that the Simpsons, where the Simpsons are?
That's funny. Oh, the dome would make a lot of sense then.
Yeah, isn't that because I'm pretty sure that's the Simpsons neighborhood. Or maybe I'm wrong. Yeah.
Ouch.
We passed an hour. We were only going to do an hour, Imani.
Oh shoot, are we really?
Yeah, we're like 103.
Ralph is the name that Agnes keeps giving. I think he is a member of AIM. I was trying to find that and I couldn't find it. But if I'm right, he is a real person who's probably not in that reality too, but he's definitely up to no good. And yeah, we tried. I was telling Freeman the other day, like, yo, I really think we should try to keep this to 30 minutes, just for one episode. And we'll try to keep them short since the episodes themselves aren't too long. But they give us a double feature. And now here we are at an hour and 4 minutes.
Well, not only did they give us a double feature,
they gave us a
mystery box within the double feature. So there's a lot to unpack in each of the episodes, in both episodes, honestly. But like I said, I think we'll continue this conversation tomorrow as well on the main show, which is the Cookout, which will be here on this channel, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have a different bunch of topics. We got some DC news we got to talk about. We got Marvel news. We got a lot of Marvel news though. We got a lot of good Marvel news this week. We got some more. Of course we did. When did we get good DC news? We never get good DC news.
You're right.
You can't. Come on now. Like whenever I see DC trending on Twitter, I assume it's bad. Like it's just I'm like, all right, something bad happened, and lo and behold, exactly that is exactly the case.
It's all over Second Street. Honestly, there's so much that happened in these first 2 episodes that we probably didn't get to. It's madness. I'll probably watch them again before tomorrow.
I'm definitely going to rewatch them because I definitely wasn't prepared for the amount of the layers and the Easter eggs and the mystery within the first 2 episodes. I wasn't prepared for that. So I'm going to have to go back and rewatch all of that stuff because there's a lot of stuff I missed, and I'm going to have to take better notes because it's like, man, I was thinking that they were going to come in with some soft jabs, but they were actually some decent body shots with these first 2 episodes that caught me off guard. Yeah. But yeah, and we got some more Star Wars news, but I think for the most part tomorrow will be a Marvel DC day, for sure. And then some other announcements. I think there's some HBO Max stuff. There's some new movie releases that were announced. So yeah, and then on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Starlight Beacon will be returning Star Wars Sundays. I did read the High Republic comic novel. I mean, not novel. Jesus, comic novel. It's late. I'm tired. It's been a long week. The comic book, the first issue of the High Republic. I really liked it. I think I like where this comic book series is going. I'm looking forward to the next issue next month. And I'm gonna finish. I hadn't finished reading. Yeah, it's time to go. I haven't finished reading the Test of Courage, so that hopefully I can finish tomorrow. It's a short book. That one's like 22 chapters, so it's like half as much as the Light of the Jedi, which is like 44 or 45 chapters. I'm halfway through that book, so hopefully I can knock out the rest of it tomorrow. And then we're going to talk about it on Sunday. But yeah, man, definitely go check out the High Republic comic. It's on Marvel. I think it's like $3.99 right now. So go check that series out. Keeve Trennis is the main character, and I honestly, right now, she is my favorite character in the High Republic. The trial, it was really cool. I'll talk about it on Sunday. Anyway, that's all I got. Imani, anything else?
That's all I got. I'm excited to see you guys tomorrow at 8 o'clock for the cookout. Thank you to all of our viewers who are watching us after the live. We're expecting more people to watch this after they finished. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on socials at Certified Gumbo. We love you and thank you.
Yep. And as I always say, peace, love, blessings, and may the force be with you.